Hey everyone, this is James, the Ghost Set Killer, and this is our monthly mic. And I'm going to tell you what, today's show is brought to you by, this is one of our first sponsors, agxai.com. Your point of sale system, the only one you'll ever need. So go check it out, agxai.com. And Mike, you had a birthday yesterday, did you not?
Celebrated the big 4-0. Today's a big difference. My back's killing me. My hair's grayer than it was. Like, look at the beard.
Oh,
Spicy.
don't even start that. Look at this,
yeah,
man.
my wife's like, are you going to dye your
Claus.
beard? Like, what are we doing here? You going to get some Botox? She's telling me. And it's pretty funny. She's like, you get a little wrinkly. I'm like, really? Are you really saying this to me right now? She's like, yeah, just, go get some Botox. She's like, why don't you dye your beard? I said, dye my beard. I said, damn, that's not authentic me.
Yeah.
What am I going to dye my beard? Brown? It just look funny, Might as well dye it red at that point, be a ginger.
Yeah, right? So back in the day when I used to do my hair all different funky colors and have a bunch of metal in my face and stuff, I would always dye my goatee different colors. And they were like, oh, that's why your goatee's so white now. No, my goatee's white because I'm just old Santa Claus. I bet your back's hurting from, like, carrying all of us motherfuckers, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fucking carrying a lot of weight on my back.
I lost you.
No, so yeah. I thought my cable was bad, but something else is bad because the mic with the headphones works and it doesn't work. I don't know.
Yeah, gotcha.
But going back to being 40, huge milestone, right? I've read a lot of books, and over the last couple, after the last 10, 15 years, I've read a lot of entrepreneurial books, a lot of self-help books, all this stuff. And they say that most men really establish themselves financially in their 40s. So I'm hoping 40s is a big jump compared to 30s. Not that the 30s wasn't bad, but I would like to see that. Let's see if that comes true. But it's like the percentiles. Like I don't know. I remember exactly what it was, but it was like in the high 90s of like men really, establish themselves. And when you have kids and you have a wife and all that good stuff, right? You're carrying a lot of weight on your back, especially if you have a stay-at-home mom. I have a stay-at-home mom, so
yeah,
it's a lot, especially where we live. It's fucking bananas here. Jersey's got I think the highest taxes in the United States right now. I don't know if it's Oregon and Jersey, but I think they're pretty like neck and neck at that point.
Wow. I hate the weather here, and your weather is probably the same as here, so it's always cold and then it's hot. We had a hot week, and so I'm like, this is great, and then wake up today and it's 25 degrees.
It was like 75 degrees one day, and so I usually get dressed for work. I like to get dressed up when I come to my office, my off-site office, where I am right now. I never forget. I came outside. I was like, "What?" I was sweating from all different parts of my body. I'm like, "Damn, my titty's sweating." I'm like, what's going on?
What is
I'm
going
like, it's
on?
hot out here. All I did was walk to the car, and then I get in the car. I'm like, "Oh my god!" It's like I put the AC on, and then the next day, I guess the AC's on since I have like the automatic in the car.
Yep.
I start my car. I pull out of my garage, and the temperature's like the day before was like 76. And I look, it's like 32 degrees. I'm like, oh, this is bipolar. But I'm cool with that. I'm cool. The weather don't bother me. The cold don't really bother me. The heat, I don't like I can't do the humidity. I like the sweat. I'm a sweater. But I could do the heat. That doesn't bother me. But it's good for the business, right? So I like extreme weather. I'm all for extreme weather, snowstorms, hailstorms, catastrophic stuff. For business, it's just in our industry, that's what you need. You need those crazy, you have those windstorms at night. I mean, we don't get hail here like down south or out west, but I wouldn't mind taking one. I mean, my cars both get parked in a garage every day, so I'm cool with that. Maybe the work trucks might get a little banged up, work fans and stuff, but that's okay. I can deal with that. We have insurance.
Yeah, every now and then we'll get a hailstorm here. Very rarely, but every now and then, probably once every 2 years, we'll get a good hailstorm, which will give us a good bit of business.
I feel like Ohio's like very gray. It's like a gray.
Dude, that's why our fucking colors are scarlet and gray.
There.
It's fucking gray. 90% of the time.
That's where the headquarters is for SL, right? That's why.
Yes.
It's like they're sucking. It's like despicable
all the life
Me.
out.
They're sucking all the life out of the area.
Oh my goodness! I'm telling you, like, yes, this state stays gray most of the year. We have the full 4 seasons. And summer, you either have sunny and thunderstorm chance, or it's gray with rain chance. So, like, yes, Ohio's always a lot of gray. But we try to stay somewhat sunny disposition. So with this, let's talk about the industry going ons. So you and I both know a lot of people that are behind the scenes working, not just inside of organizations, but outside of organizations to try to help with these bills, with the potential laws, with getting everything moving forward. Where do you see that going? Where do you see the end result? Are we going to see laws coming? Are we going to see these bills take effect? And do these bills taking effect hurt us?
It's one of those things like, I have a lot of opinions on a lot of things, but this is something I'm kind of just like staying neutral just to see
Mm-hmm.
how things play out. I know there is a lot going on behind the scenes. There is a lot of people involved that are not out here publicly speaking about it every day. There's a lot of things that got accomplished because of some of those people, but I'm staying neutral on this whole thing. Like I said in one of the other earlier podcasts, I don't know, last month, the month before, I don't remember. I'm just doing my thing. I'm gonna stay in my lane and do what I'm good at and just keep doing that. Because that whole scene is not my space. And I don't want that to take up any of my time. Do I agree with some of the bills? Yes. Do I disagree with some of the bills? Yes. So like I said, I'm staying neutral on these things, and I'm just going to do what's best for me and my company and my employees, because I am not going to burn any of my time to get involved on that aspect.
Yeah. Well, I respect that, and I personally don't know enough about them. I'll read them, and I'll read into them, and I'll read the articles. But for me, I don't have I have a professional opinion about it. Like you said, some of them are good, some of them are bad. I know that with the way lobbying, I think the way lobbying and everything works, that the bigger guys on the scene will fight to make it beneficial for them. That's all they've ever done. And rightfully so. I mean, they've got a business to protect. They got a lot of working parts. So the people that are fighting behind the scenes that don't get the glory, thank you for that. Thank you for fighting for us and standing up for us and making sure that we have some sort of voice heard when it comes to these things, because a bill and a law affects all businesses, not just some businesses. It affects all businesses. So for everybody that's fighting behind the scenes that I've talked to, thank you for doing so. You are a wholesaler for glass. Have you read the new GM position statement?
No, I'm not a wholesaler. Why do you think? You thought I was a wholesaler?
I thought you were a wholesaler. No,
No.
you
No,
just
you
own
crazy.
warehouses. Yeah.
No,
You're
no, I have
crazy.
my own warehouses. That's for my internal stock. A couple years back, like I did go down that path a little bit, and like we were
Mm-hmm.
selling to some of the local people, but it actually became a massive headache. And I don't need any more headaches than I have already. So very quickly, I implemented absolutely no selling glass to anybody.
Okay.
You remember, people fail to understand, like, a lot of people reach out to me, oh, how do I buy containers? Like, who do I
Mm-hmm.
call? Like, what goes on with this? And they're only looking at like the discount. They're not understanding the amount of labor that goes into moving glass. How are you housing it? How are you just a container, say 850 pieces of glass? How are you housing that glass? Do you have the space? Now, initially, you might not have racks and say you got to go and buy racks. Racks are not cheap. Are you
Mm-mm.
installing the racks? And now the racks are just a frame. That doesn't mean that you're going to have anywhere to put the glass on the rack now. So now you have to buy wood, 2x4s, 1x1s, whatever you decide to use, or PVC to rack that stuff. It's a pretty large investment. And then on top of it, you're spending money on parts you don't know if they're sold yet. So those parts not being sold could sit. And how long are they going to sit for? It's crazy. So I've been doing this, a handful of years now. And I remember my first two containers we got, and there's parts in some of those first two containers, and I'm going back a while. I'm talking double digit containers since then, maybe triple digit, almost. Nah, maybe not. I don't know if I had triple digits, double digits. We still have pulling parts out of those from those first containers we ever ordered, which is crazy because
Yeah.
the price of that glass and the price of the glass today is huge. It's like, it has doubled. So like a part I might have spent $30 on, 4 or 5 years ago, that part today might be almost 60.
Yeah.
So everything, there was a huge increase in the last year when it comes to parts. So I always tell everybody, like, if you're not really prepared to do this, do not do this. You need bodies. You need to move. Now, if you do one container a year, maybe you could pull it off. But are you really willing to invest that kind of capital into letting it sit without guaranteeing the parts are being sold? Now, my business model is a little different than most, so we know we're moving parts all the time. We do a good amount of work. We could go through, just say a container, well, more than a container a month, but just say we call it 2 containers a month of windshields if we have it in stock. But that's where you win, because you're like, oh shit, your gross profit goes up because you're not buying it elsewhere, which, I would say my pricing's pretty reasonable these days. I don't think I'm they just see I could do the volume, so I guess they adjust the pricing, but I don't necessarily recommend it to everybody, just because you got to store it, you got to move it, you got to throw the pallets out. You can't burn them because they're covered in chemicals.
There's a lot that goes into it, man.
It's a lot of work, and you need space. So I think right now in my like headquarter area, my warehouse, whatever you want to call it, I have like maybe like just about 20,000 square feet, and I'm talking there's not as much space as you need. Like, I could probably double that amount of space and load that up too.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get into a rhythm of when the containers come. I'm trying to get them to land ever so often, so like we're kind of ready for it. But there's times that things get backed up, and it's like boom, you get 2 in like a 2-week period, and you're like, holy shit.
Where am I putting this
a lot of times you leave the glass in the pallet, but a lot of times we try to get to the point where we're just ordering pallet quantities instead of split. So a couple years ago they changed the way things work, and you used to be able to order 5 of any part number, except like back glasses. A back glass was like 20 pieces, and I remember one of my first 1 or 2 containers I ordered, there was like almost 100 parts. It was crazy. Now I have like 30 parts.
Yeah,
it's all just straight pallets at this point, but I don't recommend it to everybody. I think you should do it at a certain point when you have cash flow and you have capital. But otherwise, you're taking a gamble unless you have a really good customer base that you know exactly what you're going to be ordering. So it depends. I mean, the distributors, they're good. I think they've gotten better. Like me, particular, I'm a migrant guy. I like migrant. I see better quality coming out of migrant in the sense of, I don't want to say better quality because every brand has its problems. More of like, hey, my glass is cleaned. I don't have 4 inches of dust on it. My deliveries are more consistent. My pricing is more consistent. So, I did have my opinion on migrant a few years back because, they went from like that very family-based customer service, prior to COVID. And then it kind of flip-flopped because the world did change. Everybody changed. So I was a little salty, I wouldn't lie, but the last couple of years it got back to where it is, and I'm happy to use them. And they have a ton of warehouses up northeast, so it gives me if I need to backfill, which I do, because you can't have everything. We order a lot of glass from them. I would say I'm a great customer, but they're good people. I over the years, like I said, I had my opinion on them, but it's changed a lot. So
I agree. I agree. Migrant's pretty good. IGC's always treated me pretty well. I'm not going to talk about the quality from either one of them because they kind of stock the same parts. But when it comes to deliveries, I always try to take care of my delivery drivers, leaving them snacks.
Oh yeah,
give
these guys
drinks.
a couple bottles of water. Tell them they can take a shit in your bed if you have to.
Yeah.
Throw them a couple bucks. Give them $20 for Christmas, $25. Because they're not making a lot of money.
But they take care of your parts. They make sure they're clean. So they make
that little extra. You go do a little extra. It pays off because they remember, like, hey, this guy's not like the guy bitching that when it's pouring rain out and they're getting out of the truck by themselves and they're pulling the glass out and the other guy's just sitting there dry. Like, not me. I'm gonna get out there.
I'm gonna get out there and I'm gonna. I always help. Yeah, always help them unload it. It gives me a chance to talk with them. Like I said, we always keep snacks for them here. We'll drop a cooler out there because I've got like a little drop spot right here in my driveway. So we'll drop a little cooler out there, have some energy drinks. I talk to them, figure out what they like because I don't want to put something out that they don't like, some snacks, things like that. I always go out and talk to them, help them unload parts. I've always done that. Even back when I was at other companies, I would go out and help them unload, talk to them, just kind of, you know, because they're out there doing a thankless job, bro. Like they're getting complained by everyone about how your warehouse is shit and you don't do chip off and you always bring me fucked up parts. And it's like, dude, these guys, give them something to care about and they might care a little bit. And I know that that's the case with the delivery drivers that I know. Is like like when I was at Richardson, dude, me and Big James, we would always go out and help him unload the truck, talk to him. Heck, the one guy we went, he's a big Jeep guy, so we went and got him some stuff for his Jeep, you know, and just a very cool dude, you know. Did your microphone shut off? All right, it says that you stopped recording, so let's see if you come back. Nope. We'll continue on a new track. All right. Still can't hear you. Yeah. We'll need to edit this out for sure.
Oh, there we go. I
there
won't touch
you go.
the mic again. All right.
Hey,
boom, we're back.
We're back.
Hold on. Are we recording right now?
We are recording right
okay,
now.
Cool.
It didn't stop. Yours stopped for a second, and then it put you on a new
guys.
track.
I had technical difficulties.
Difficulties.
I don't know what's wrong with this thing. I don't know if it's the I don't know if it's the wire on the headphones.
Mm-hmm.
So, or it's the actual mic. It's not like it came as a kit, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But my sound is crystal clear.
But your sound is crystal clear. Yeah, it sounds amazing. Like that's one thing I like about the road.
You get somebody on a podcast and like you can't hear them and like they're trying to drive and you hear like the fucking tools in the back of the van fucking rattling. Right?
Well, and the ones that are great is they're doing it on their laptop and then they have like no headphones in. So like when I talk, their speaker picks it up and it backfeeds and gives me this huge echo, and I'm like, oh man, just put some headphones in, man. And then, you know, yeah, anyways, things that we try to avoid. But yes, it's kind of like sometimes I'm like trying to strain to listen to try to figure it out, and then sometimes they're cutting in and out, so I'm trying to piece together the words so I'm not constantly going, what did you say, can you repeat yourself? So I try to make sure I keep the flow going. But
yeah, I'm on a laptop, I'm using my MacBook, and I mean I'm plugged in, so it's working well, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's working well. There's no echo or anything. But point is, take care of your delivery drivers. Make them care. Give them a reason. Hook them up, man. They ain't making very much money, and they're out here like you said. Yes, help them unload. Help them unload. Make sure that you're out there, you know, checking your parts with them. And if there's a night delivery, they're coming and nobody's there, make sure that you allow them to use the bathroom. You allow them in your store. You allow them to, you know, leave them something, you know, but take care of them. Mike, I wanted to ask you, though, we're going on this customer service rant here a little bit. Did you not just have like an AGSC audit not too long ago?
Yeah, I had an AGSC audit.
How'd that go?
How'd that go? It was good. Yeah. It was good. We were prepared. I know I would think people would get nervous just because it looks like a lot of information, but I mean, if you're just operating like I would say within the standard, but I mean, if you're just not a cockroach, most likely you'll be okay. You know, there's some questions like maybe that I might have botched just because, you know, I'm not big on like rubber set stuff. So like just the way you're gluing in moldings, but I wasn't the one getting audited. Steve and one of my guys, McCoy. So they were the one that Jeff was watching with the installations and stuff. I just sat down with him for like 5 minutes, just went over some paperwork, you know, with, you know, the lot numbers and all that good stuff. But otherwise, I would say it's pretty easy. Jeff's a great guy. I think he's there more to educate you than really break your chops. But I'm sure he's gone to places where they have no clue what's going on. And I'm sure that's happened. Not that he said that, but I'm sure it does happen because I could see it being like a little overwhelming. So when I got the email and I seen like everything, I'm like, what is this? And the way I was like, all right, I got to figure this out. So I think I called you. I called Jock. I'm like, hey, like I just want to make sure I'm prepared for this because I want it to go smooth. But everything went really well. I think it's really important to get involved with the AGSC because they are staying on top of, you know, how we should do things, what works for us, and just moving forward because the industry is really changing a lot. The landscape changes day by day. The cars are changing day by day, and obviously there's a lot of legislation trying to go into place, right? So, for instance, like that bill in Maryland where they were saying like you have to do ADAS, correct? Was it right? The windshield calibrations, right?
Yep.
And I think that's awesome. I think that's a great bill.
Okay,
And I'm
hold on.
sure
I want to stop you right there
why.
because a gentleman who is in that area was trying to prepare himself and was like, "Hey, I believe this bill passed, and what calibration equipment? Because I don't want to lose business, and I'm going to have to start doing. What calibration equipment would you recommend?" That's all he was asking. And then people went into his damn comments and started blowing him up about, bills and this and that and this and that and doing this. And all the gentleman wanted to do was like, it's like, are you guys telling him not to calibrate? I mean, is that your, is that your fucking point? Is that you're telling this gentleman not to calibrate? He's seeing that this bill is either passed or going to be passed or it's taking steps. So he's wanting to protect his business at every cost and make sure he's following the rules. Now he's wanting to get into calibrations and stuff like that. Was not saying the bill was good or bad. He was just saying that it looks like I'm going to have to start doing this. What road should I take? And it was just like a rain of, oh, do this, but nothing was telling him to
those
calibrate.
People are fucking internet superstars.
I was just, it pissed me off so bad that I even left the comment.
Their opinions are great on on the internet, but in reality, most of them don't even say anything. They're quiet.
It made me so mad.
They attack people. It's like that time I seen that person posting up for texts. I don't know if I told you that. I seen someone posting. I don't know. It was like one of the random groups. I feel like if you're not on like the main groups like AGTT, the Autoglass Tech group. I mean, Autoglass Nation's pretty fucking dead. There's like some other one that's pretty decent. I don't know who started that one, but it has a lot of members. And then there's like all these other off groups. But there's a lot of action in the off groups. There's more action in the off groups than there is in the main groups that everybody's been in for years. I don't know if that everything changed with that, but people definitely attack other people when they post stuff. Now, there is some people that ask some ridiculous questions. But if someone's just asking like, "Hey, what system should I use? Or which system should I invest in?" I mean, that's pretty a generalized question, I mean, why do you have to respond to something if you don't like what the question is, or it makes you pissed off, or you want to get one up on the like? Why respond to that? Like, just leave it alone. If I tell you the amount of times I have ignored things that popped in front of my face that I wanted to go in and fucking go nuclear on people and chew them. But then I realized it's like, all right, what is the point of doing this? What am I going to get out of it? It's going to cause a bickering argument. And I'm a grown-ass adult that has a successful business. I don't need to be wasting my time bickering with people over this bullshit. Maybe 10 years ago, it was different because it was actually fun to do that. It was different. You could say whatever you wanted on these groups. It wasn't like you were going to get banned or there was going to be some huge thing that would happen. But for the most part, if I didn't see that post, and now I'm going to try to look for it.
I can't remember which group it was on. Yeah, I can't remember which group it was on, but it made me so mad that I went and commented, like, "Are you telling this person not to calibrate?" And of course they were like, "No, did you watch the video? Did you do this? Did you do that?" And it's like, well, no. I mean, I'm not going to, because the question wasn't about your video about legislation. The video was like, "Hey, this is happening. I see it happening. I want to get into calibrations. How do I do it?" He wasn't saying, "How do I stop this bill? How do I fight for this? How do I fight for that?" It was like, okay, this is probably going to happen. I want to take the best steps forward to protect my business from it happening. If then he wanted to if you recommended a calibration equipment company and then say, "Hey, if you want to get into fight to try to stop this, here's this. But I recommend you start calibrating vehicles because it's the safest thing for your customers at the end of the day." And you're leaving a lot of money on the table when you're not doing that. But yeah, that was one thing that just kind of struck a nerve with me a little bit. And yeah, it is what it is. And with those, some people are out there to try to just strike nerves, and that's what they're doing. They're just trying to.
What do they call them? Agitators.
Yeah,
agitators. It's like the people that are out there protesting like over bullshit, right? Like
the agitators.
It's like people protesting, for Iran, and like they're literally massacring their own people, and you have some whack job over here and just say Manhattan on your, around me in Manhattan and fucking protesting. It makes no sense. But I think people are getting paid to protest, right? Something like that they're saying. There's like they like kind of like unraveled that whole thing that people are getting paid. It's like ads on Craigslist, like come protest professionally for like $250 a day.
come be a professional protester.
Come cover your face and dress in black and go fight with people. That kind of just goes back to the same thing. Like an opinion isn't credibility, right?
Yeah.
Just because you have an opinion doesn't give you credibility. In my eyes, you have to have credibility to really have a real opinion. So there's a lot of people that lack the actual credibility that have way too much opinion, at least in this industry, especially when it comes to ADOS. I mean, over the years, I've seen people post that do not have equipment, that do not do recalibrations, giving recalibration advice. It blows my mind. Blows my mind.
Yeah.
The industry is segregated right now. If you can't see this whole picture that's being painted, there's like a left and there's a right. It's weird. There's a lot of right people on the left side. I would say I'm going to always lean to the right, kind of my style, up straight up, tell you how I feel. I am conservative, whatever. And then there's a lot of people went to the left. There's like this huge segregation thing going on. It's like a battle with, I think the left is battling themselves. They don't even realize it because the other half of the industry is like, you got to be fucking kidding me. These people retarded, and I don't know if you see that, right? So like, it's like kind of similar to what happens in the streets of the United States over the last 10 years. You have these loud, obnoxious people out there protesting. They ain't getting nothing accomplished. That's all I'm going to say. That basically sums it up. It's just yap, 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 loud, 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 nothing accomplished. Look at the history. Go back over the last 20 years. What has been accomplished? Now, because I'm an outspoken person, and I just said this on this podcast, I'm going to get attacked for that. I'm going to get a podcast made about me for that. But that's okay, because I'm getting free fucking attention, and I am taking up so much space in your head. I love it. It's rent-free, baby. I got a fucking penthouse in that fucking noodle of some of these people. Yeah. I mean, I've been told, I have a lot of friends. Maybe not. Maybe some people don't want to admit they associate with me because they don't want to blow their cover, whatever it is. But the fact that there's group chats about my own post, like if I post something and then you have a full-blown fucking conversation in a group chat about me, I mean, you really, really need to get a fucking life. You really need to find something better than worrying about what I have to say because, hey, maybe it could be impactful to a certain extent, but I'm just an opinion too. What the fuck does it mean? Right? But you see, James, you see what's going on. We all see what's going on. There is a left and there is a right, and there's people in the middle. That's it.
Yeah. And, I try to stay middle of the road. I'm not going to lie. I try to stay middle of the road because...
That's how I am. I'm a middle of the road. I'm a common sense person. I am for common sense. So you kind of got to stay in the middle. This is even going for our own politics here. But I'm only using that left and the right example because it's the easiest way. I don't want to say the top or the bottom, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm not relating this to politics in any way. The only thing I'm using that as like an example. I'm kind of neutral because I'm for what's going to better the industry, what's going to better everybody. But I'm not going to just jump headfirst into something if I don't know 100% about it, if I don't know who's behind it, who's driving it, who's lobbying it, who's involved in it. I just know if you look at history and you go back, a lot of this has been tried back in, I think, 2005, and nothing got accomplished, right? There's a lot of time wasted. So as the person that I am, I'm going to do what's best for me, what's best for my company, and best for my employees. Then the industry comes next because I have to feed families.
Yes.
Maybe not everybody involved in this other side of the left even have employees. So who do they have to feed? So I got to do what's best for my company, what's best for the people around me, and then I can get involved in the other things. Now, if there was something that I really truly believed in, I would get involved in, like the whole ADAS thing. I think it's important. I think everybody should calibrate. Why should companies invest money, invest time educating the customer, and then anybody can just do what they want? But the manufacturer requires us to recalibrate that car after something is touched. But also these other people that might be touching these cars without recalibrating, do they have business insurance? Are they even legit? So there's no one to hold them accountable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
As a company, I'm held accountable. I have to have all the insurance. I have to have all the right equipment. If we were the last people to touch a car and some shit hit the fan, who are they going to come to? They're going to come to me, right? So if I touched that car last and didn't recalibrate, whose fault is it? It's mine.
Yeah. No, 100%.
I think everybody should do. I think it should be mandatory to do recalibrations.
I agree.
And if a company doesn't want to invest in it because they're worried about the money aspect of it, that's their own problem. You have to change with the times. You go to HVAC, you need a license. You go to electrician, you need a license. You need to go to plumbing. You're a plumber, you need a license. You use pesticides, you need a license. I mean, how many people have their primer in a fire cabinet?
Exactly. Because or keeping it at the 70 degrees or yeah.
Yeah. 100%. It freezes, it overheats.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the urethane thing. I had this conversation with Jeff. You could go sit in a distributor in the Northeast and watch everybody buy 420 and P to G, and it's 25 degrees outside. Those people are not. They don't have shops.
Nope.
But we're still selling the glue to these people, and who's accountable? Well, it gets passed on to the user, and the user's accountable. But if the user's not legit, who hurts? The person that was involved in it. But that's I could go on.
Well, like you were saying with the licensing of other trades, I mean, they clearly have it on their trucks, insured and licensed, and it's all over their trucks. And some of the HVAC stuff, you have to actually have an account, a licensing with an account to purchase parts, if you're wanting to do it. Because, the DIY thing is very strong in United States, but no one should DIY their fucking windshield. No one. So that includes the people who are buying 428. They, in my opinion, now this is my opinion, crucify me, but the people that are going and they're just buying the cheapest thing possible, going out installing and not following the urethane manufacturer's recommendations on how that should be used, they are DIYers, period. I mean, and crucify me if you want, but if you're not following your urethane manufacturer specifications on how that product should be used and stored and, housed and transported and everything they say to do, you're leaving yourself open for all kinds of problems. So to me, you're a DIYer.
But the thing is, if they're not legit, there's nothing to even go after.
Good point.
Right? You're an HVAC company, right? The supplier just won't sell anybody these HVAC units. They won't just sell them certain refrigerants. They won't sell them certain... I don't know. I really don't know that space, but just anything that they need to work every day, right? The supplies they need. You need to be a licensed person to purchase those items.
Yeah.
We don't have that.
We don't have anything.
And I'm not about regulation. I'm really not about regulation in that aspect. Yeah. But in another sense, it's like, all right, there has to be some sort of control over this stuff, one point or another.
Yeah, I mean, because you're going to, my opinion about this, and we're going to wrap this up here shortly, is if you're going to regulate ADAS, you need to regulate the auto glass industry because the structural integrity is based off of the installer's actual procedures. And if the airbag blows the fucking windshield out before, the camera doesn't do its job and then the airbag blows the windshield out and nobody's safe. That's a whole different, that's a whole bag of worms that you don't want to open, but they're open. And the problem is that a lot of these cases get settled outside of court, so they don't see the light of day. So the general public and even inside the industry, we don't see the lawsuits that have been filed by these families because of companies come in and just settle it, like out of court. So we don't know if someone's lost their life. Like some back in the day, you found out like the 2020 video and a couple other ones that I guarantee you on a yearly basis, there are court cases settled out of court that is pertaining to some technician not doing their job correctly.
It's just a numbers game. There has to be some catastrophic failure somewhere or another. I mean, no one's doing anything perfect. It's just
but that's also what hurts our industry because you got people who are doing it wrong that say I've never had a problem, and I don't hear of people having problems that are doing it the same way as me. And it's like, well, yeah, because these court cases don't see the light of day because they're gonna pay these people a bunch of money, and they're just gonna walk away from it.
Well, it's also why these big guys are they're it's so easy for them to maintain the business they have because then they go by, hey, well, we're trained a certain way and we use a certain product, and if something does happen, we are able to handle it. I can't tell you how many times we hear stories of these cockroaches or chucks in a truck, whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
They'll do somebody's windshield, the thing is pissing, and then they go MIA. Like it's notorious for like those people that use like Facebook to advertise. So they'll do like a windshield, $150, whatever, and I'm sure they're not charging that because it's not even possible. But those people are the ones that just, it's like one and done. They just like grab the money and go, and it's usually people just looking to save money in that aspect, right? And they usually get screwed, and then it winds up costing them more money. So it's a lesson learned for them. But then they'll come, and we hear horror stories like, "Hey,
Yeah.
my windshield slid like 2 inches, and like the wind noise was crazy. Nothing went back. Nothing's working. My whole dashboard's lit." I mean, we've seen the extreme of cameras getting clipped, or the camera's gone and everything's stuffed in the headliner, and they'll throw a regular windshield in it. And I seen the older Rogues like that, like the 3898 windshield, and I think it's like a 4578 is like the ADAS windshield. I've seen that so many times, and it's just, there's no one's held accountable in any way. And eventually something will happen eventually. I don't know how long it's gonna be. It might not be my time.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
windshields are definitely, I wouldn't say they're getting more complicated in the sense of the installation part of it, because I think it's easier to do glass now than it was 20 years ago. Just the way things are like floating, less moldings, we got bonded. The urethane isn't like, I remember urethane being like a brick trying to go through it when it was cold. You extract the blade with like, it didn't matter. Yeah, like your arms are like a fucking 90-pound jackhammer, and I think the industry changed a lot like that. But just overall, like, it's going to get more complex because autonomous vehicles, and so there's going to be a lot more safety involved. I don't know how much longer this is going to go on for. I'm going to say, hey, I would say we have a pretty good industry to like 31, 32. I mean, things are always going to change, so something might roll out and be a lot easier. I know everybody talks about this like self recalibrating. It might happen, but someone's gonna have to still initiate that module. It's gonna either be the glass person, it's gonna be the customer, it's gonna be somebody. So it's not gonna be self calibrating. Like, yeah, it might self calibrate after you tell it, like, hey,
I
you need to
replaced the
calibrate,
windshield.
but somebody's still gonna be the last person to touch that if it's the consumer or the company. But that, it's just the industry changed a lot, and it's just like, I don't know what it is. It became a shit show since July. Since the whole State Farm jumping to Safe Flight, it has become an absolute shit show of just opinions.
So with that, are you because of Lynx giving more towards what seemed like the independents instead of Safe Flight, because Lynx did give Safe Flight some work. Is it because their work has dried up, and now you're seeing all these opinions, or is it because of
No,
the fact
I don't think
that
they ever. I don't think they ever had the work to begin with. It's just they want to fucking bitch and complain about something. I mean, let's be realistic now. You have a chuck in a truck. All of a sudden, the fucking SGC is not administrating insurance claims. Just to say this happens, right? And now all of a sudden, Chuck in the truck gets sent 30 jobs in one day. Chuck in the truck can't get those jobs done. Chuck in the truck ain't going to go hire somebody. Chuck in the truck ain't going to be able to handle the volume. So what it's going to happen, and they're going to push it off to the bigger companies that have technicians in various areas. They're going to hand it off to the, all the bigger companies, like people that can handle it. I mean, I got an industry report now. I don't know how accurate it is. I'm sure it's some consultant doing the report. But I mean, they say the average auto glass company has 4 employees. 4. So that's a CSR. That's a husband, a wife, a helper, and maybe a CSR. Which, one tech, owner-operated tech, wife, maybe a CSR helper. 4. So realistically, how could you handle doing 250 cars a month? I mean, 250 cars a week from insurance. Just say if that was the number.
I don't know that
I'm
you
not
could.
saying they have the right to get the work and do it. But they're going to cherry pick it probably. So when that 1549 insurance job comes in, they ain't going to do it. When that 1747, that rates, I ain't paying. Meanwhile, they go and slap that thing in for a cash price, half the price of the insurance. So like say a 20, so say like a 2040, right? A 2040, just say is like probably around, depending on the insurance company, say anywhere from the $350 to $400 range when insurance pays for the job. I could tell you, there's very few trucking the trucks getting that cash price. Period. The end.
The cash price and the insurance price is so different to me that, I mean, yeah, I'm paying cash. So, okay, that's created this whole atmosphere that we're working in.
They're going to hold my money forever. I never get paid. I get short paid. And don't get me wrong, I've been short paid mad times in the last year. I have problems. The approvals for OEM have been, it's murderous. Nothing has been getting approved. Like, they've been kicking everything back. But the thing is, I know I'm going to get paid one way or another. Most of these, I don't know if you want to say chuck in a truck. I don't even want to use that word. I don't even know why I said that, but it just popped up, of yesterday's fucking bullshit on my Facebook page. That's a whole nother fucking story. But it's just like, if you do it right? So like, there's a couple ways to send an invoice to SGC. And we'll just say SGC because, I mean, fucking links is pretty much irrelevant at this point.
Yes.
You could go on Fast Track and you can upload your invoice, which you fill in all your information. Then there's an EDI. So there's a bunch of software programs that you could just literally EDI the invoice over, which is electronic data transfer, right? So they just electronically send it over to the insurance company. I mean, to SGC, I don't know exactly how it works, but I'm sure it's something along the lines of that. You could fax it over if you still think you're living in 1995. You could email it over if you're living in 2010. But there's so many different ways to submit your invoices. But the thing is, if you don't have NAGs, you're not going to have the correct pricing. So you have to pay for NAGs. Don't buy a NAGs book. I mean, there's so many, you might have to pay your $65 or $70 for your NAGs subscription through some Autoglass software platform thing. And then you have to, pay for their services. But hey, it's like 2026. Come the fuck on. Like, let's be realistic now.
Get a point of sale system.
It's not really that hard to bill insurance. It's really not. I mean, literally, if you go on the Fast Track website, it tells you exactly how to do it. It's like Fast Track SGC. Just Google it. If you're listening to this podcast and you never did insurance, and you want to know how to do it, just go on there. And then there's people that post about, hey, I want to do an insurance job, and then people, and no one answers them. I don't know why. Who cares? Like, what are you holding back for? Like, you're doing like 2 insurance jobs a month. This guy ain't gonna come take your fucking work. He can't even figure out how to. He can't even. He's not smart enough how to Google how to do an insurance. I mean, literally, I'm sure, and I haven't tried it, but if you go into ChatGPT or one of these other bots and you ask it, hey, how do I upload an insurance invoice for a windshield replacement? I'm pretty sure it's gonna tell you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's gonna tell you how to do it.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah,
and let's not touching on the AI ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity, whatever you use, right? Just touching on that. There's way too many people using that. It's so obvious, and we know you're not that smart in real life. We know you can't make those arguments in real life. Like, if you didn't have ChatGPT, and don't get me wrong, like I use it. I told James uses it. We do use it, but
we do use it.
I use it for certain things, but I mean, you don't go from just an average dude to fucking Einstein overnight. It's just we all know it's AI. Just to let you know.
Yeah. Anybody who's been friends with me long enough knows how I text, knows how I speak, knows
dashes, if there's like a dash like after some of your like sentences, automatic AI. But you didn't see any of those dashes before AI, before people even knew. I mean, ChatGPT's been around a long time. People, all of a sudden hit mainstream, and then all of a sudden everybody's like Harvard educated, English majors that do auto glass, you know?
Absolutely. I use it.
And they put the emojis in there too.
Yeah, no, I use it on this for streamlining the like summaries, and it'll help me with titles, and it makes it so much better because I didn't do that stuff before. Because it's like, man, I know what I sound like when I text and when I write something up, and it's like,
I don't even.
All right,
make
that's
sense.
pretty bad.
I don't make sense anytime I text. Anytime.
Same.
Sometimes
Same. I'd rather just have a phone call.
Like, I'm like looking at it, I'm like, all right. I see people, they write they're writing novels like over one thing, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like why? Like why?
Oh,
like we all know you're using AI. Like just, I don't care about grammar. Like I'm not, those people that pick at them for spelling or that's not grammar. I don't care. Who even, the internet is not even real. It's not real life.
It's not real life. It's not real life. It's not real life. It needs to be used as a tool and entertainment. I use it for entertainment. So, but with that, we're at 46 minutes. We are going to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Once again, this show is brought to you by AGXAI, agxai.com. And I'm trying to sound like Joe Rogan here. I say it, but no, go check them out.
Paying a lot.
Yeah, well,
do I get a piece of the action because we're gonna get a lot of listens and views on this one, right?
Yeah,
I always bring the views.
You always bring the views. You always bring the views
and the listens.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's why I think people they try to manipulate using me as like their bait. What do they call that? Clickbait? They call it clickbait, right? People are using me as their clickbait to get their attention, to get people talking about them. But they're trying to utilizing me for some reason. Meanwhile, I haven't been on social media in fucking a year. I don't even do it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I still with the show and with I still doom scroll. I'm not gonna lie. That's one thing that since joining all the social medias, I got to get on TikTok. But all the social medias and starting this show, the one thing that changed from my life without social media to with it is that doom scroll. I find myself scrolling a lot that I'm just like, okay, why are, like you got 15, 20 minutes. Why are you just scrolling? Let's do something else productive. And so I must say I am addicted to that a little bit. So that is one thing for the rest of 2026 and into 27. I hope to control.
Well, I'll catch myself on the phone, like scrolling for no reason whatsoever.
None.
I get I go like panic mode if my phone's not around me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm gonna miss something. What I started doing is after a certain time when I'm home, I put my phone on do not disturb.
Mm-hmm.
Need to do that. How many times is someone gonna call you in the middle of the night to tell you something bad really happened? Right? For the most part. I mean, it does happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure but the thing is I need to disconnect. Like yesterday, the amount of time I probably spent on my phone was absurd. I think my average hours spent is maybe 3.5, 4 hours. But that doesn't during the day, when I'm working, I'm not using my phone for anything besides, all right, someone's calling me, an email came in, I'm checking it because I'm on, I have everything hooked up to the phone. But otherwise, for the most part, during the day, I don't touch my phone. The problem is when I go home, I start to play with the phone. And I'm like, all right, I'm trying to decompress. I start scrolling and doing stupid shit. But then my wife's like, what the fuck? You're always on your phone. And she's like, you have your fucking kids here. Meanwhile, I look over, my son's standing on the fucking coffee table like fucking King Kong. My daughter's falling off a chair or something. And I'm like, they're not even paying attention to me. It's but I get it. I wish I was able to just turn it off. And I'll tell you right now, when I was doing social, really doing it, and you see we were posting constantly, and we had, camera guys and all. It was really hard to disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really hard. But you could do it.
That's what I'm. I can do it. I can definitely do it. I just got to get some discipline when it comes to that. So I've got a plan.
Hold on. I want to just throw one other thing in there. So my entire life, I have, and I'm sure someone could relate to this this might resonate with somebody or relate to somebody. During COVID, right? Everything slowed down. And don't get me wrong, we were busy as hell during COVID. I think that's when I really grew the business most. But I started playing Call of Duty. I've never owned any video games in my entire life. I had I wound up buying a PS2. I don't know what the fuck it was. Whatever. I bought a PlayStation. All my friends, all they did was play COD and talk about stocks the whole time. Now, I ended up actually really liking playing Call of Duty. Not that I was good at it. I probably sucked, but when you play Warzone, it was cool. You had an objective for, you know, you were 4 people. It was like we were socializing over there. I started to one day I was like, wow, I'm playing a lot. And I never forget, my neck was sore. Then next, you know, I'm buying a fucking gaming chair. I buy the fucking gangster monitor. I'm going to build a computer. I'm saying to myself, how much time have I been investing in this fucking game? So I start doing the hours. It was like 2 to 3 hours per day after work. And I'm like, holy shit, I just put 21 hours into a fucking video game and my business is not doing what I wanted to do. And after that, I was like, never fucking again. But I'm sure I'm still wasting time on my phone without a doubt.
Well, I used to during COVID, I wasn't on social because I was on social in 2007 for a minute, and then my daughter came to me and I was doom scrolling, and she said something, and I said, yeah. And she was like, Daddy, you didn't even hear me, did you? You just agreed. And I was like, fuck. She's like, yeah, you did. You were just looking at your phone. You didn't even hear me. And I was like, you know what, baby? You are right. So right then I deleted all my social medias and they just were gone. I didn't have, and then through COVID, I didn't have any, and we were doing a lot of stuff through COVID because there was a lot of, you know, we were outside a lot, you know, we were just active people. So we was doing bike rides and, you know, I mean, hiking and, you know, kayaking and things like that. So there really wasn't a bunch for me to do, you know what I mean, as far as the doom scroll, because I didn't have it, you know. My phone was literally used for text, email, and phone calls. That's it. I had no other apps on there. And then, like I said, 2022, I joined. It's 2020 into 2022, beginning of 2023. I joined Facebook and then started. And then, dude, it has just grown. And I love the fact that it's grown because of the show. Because, you know, the show is a passion project for me. It's a hobby. I love it. It's something I like doing. But then, like the rest of it, it kind of just. You're right. There are times where I'm just like, fuck, I need to jump on check Facebook. It's like, what am I checking Facebook for?
For what? For what?
Yeah, it's like, what am I checking
Another
this for?
thing is like, you know, I can't tell you how many times, and I like I said, during the week, like I'm all business. I try to like really stay away from any kind of social. I'm usually home if I'm fucking around on my phone. I'm not working, but there's just too much going on. But what's fucked up is I hate when people start texting me. Did you see that post that they're talking to you about? Oh, do you see this post they tagged you in? And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then I go on and I'm like, holy shit. Like, how everybody else is seeing this before I see it. Like, how long has this been up for? And then you got somebody fucking ripping me apart. And I'm like, fuck, I'm not even there to defend myself.
Defend myself.
You know?
Yeah.
But then it's like, who gives a fuck in another sense? But you know, listen, I can't, how many times have people posted about you, right? Multiple times. And it happens to me all the time. I'm kind of just like used to it now. I'm like, it is what it is. You know, like what people think about me, I don't really give a fuck anymore. Like I stopped giving a fuck a long time ago. That used to affect me. Now I'm just like, it is what it is. You know, if you don't like me, oh fucking well. You don't like what I have to say, then don't fucking listen. It's easy as that.
Yeah.
You know, but don't come up and try to hijack my shit because you know there's going to be fucking consequences. Because there's always consequences for your actions, and the internet is not forgiving. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it off on that note.
All right. Hey everybody, enjoy this show when it comes out, and have a great day.
Peace.